Hi everybody. This video is to the people who voted Tory, and I know they see somebody like me as an enemy, but I'm not. I am your friend. I am a friend of humanity. So if you're a human being, I am your friend, and I do care about your interests, even though I'm described as a leftist. I'm not, like I say, I'm not that sort of political, really. I voted Labour for the first time voting in 30 years, simply because their policies would have protected you people, also the vast majority of you who have voted Tory. Now, personally, I don't believe that this landslide victory is in any way realistic, a true representation of how the British public voted. I very strongly suspect rigging and fraud, and I've got good reason for that. There's evidence for it, because I don't have suspicions without some form of solid evidence. Certainly there's evidence of motive and intent there. Now, I did write this article, and this is actually a bit like a summary of previous articles that I've written, but directly related now to the results of the general election and the manner in which it was a fraudulent process, and if not a criminal process. But one of the points that I'm making here is about what's going to happen to the economy, and why it is so important that the people of Britain stick together, whether or not we believe in Labour or whether we're right-wing or left-wing. I was trying to explain that this isn't about politics in the regular sense of politics, because this is about dramatic changes to our nation and our whole society, our children's future. And we are dealing with monsters, and unfortunately the people of Britain, the vast majority of them that have voted Tory now, have absolutely no idea exactly what you're dealing with. Now, one of the things that I warn about in here is a falling pound, and how the Tories are betting on a falling pound, and they stand to make billions and billions. They're friends. The further the pound falls, the further profits they will make. But the thing is, it's about controlling a population and driving wages down, you see, and making the British workforce competitive with that of Asia. That's a quote from the Tories. You see, that's what the return to Victorian Britain is all about. Austerity, permanent austerity. That's what it is all about. It is about poverty for 80% of the population, and that does mean that a very large swathe of the population currently, who've mostly voted Tory, on the upper wage brackets of Britain, the 50, 60, 70, 80, 100, 200,000 pound a year people, now you are going to get fleeced. Okay, you are going to get fleeced, and you won't like what I'm explaining to you here, because I know that the people of Britain, especially very arrogant people, the richer ones, when it comes to their ego, they don't like being told that they were wrong. But you're going to have to accept that you were wrong, and you're going to have to stand up and do something about it, because you are going to have to fight for your children's right to a future worth living. Okay? Because I'll tell you now, life in a tax haven is not pleasant, and life under these monsters is not going to be pleasant. So what's going to happen is, I believe and I predict that the pound, by the time they've done Brexit, the pound will drop to the value of 25p. We will become a crown currency, because we will be a crown territory, because that's what sovereignty of Brexit's about. It's not sovereignty for the ordinary man and woman on the street. No, no, no. Sovereignty will be taken away from us. We're serfs, okay? We're serfs. You're back to your feudalism. Except this time the aristocracy is a global corporate capitalism, okay? The global corporation. They're the aristocracy. We are a farm, a corporate farm. And now we're going to get fleeced because they've taken all the public stuff. They're going to take the NHS. So you richer people now, you'll be having to spend extortionate amounts on your health care. Your price of medicines are going to skyrocket. You're going to be paying very, very much more for your school fees. In fact, you probably won't even be able to afford to send your children to private school anymore. This country will be run exactly for the 1%. Now, it takes a lot more than 1% for a party to win by a landslide election. So who was voting for that 1% against their own children's rights? So what are you people going to do? You people on 100 grand a year, when suddenly your living standards has dropped to the level of what people on 25 grand a year are now living. How are you going to cope? You need to understand it. And I have been told so many times in my life that, oh, you're exaggerating, oh, you're a scaremonger, only for later on people to come running up to me, oh, I'm sorry, you were right, it's actually worse than you said it was going to be. Well, previously I've said it was 50p, but do you know what? I'm going right down now to the absolute worst of what I think it could be. That normally I wouldn't say it was going to be that bad because I don't like to scaremonger, okay, but I'm going to go to exactly how bad I think it could get. And we are talking about a crown currency, and that will mean that your pound is worth 25p. So everybody who was worried about paying a bit of extra tax to, fund your NHS and make a nicer, brighter, happier, more productive society, okay, what you're going to be facing now is austerity on steroids, okay, because everybody will get a cut in a wage. So, people on 10 grand a year, part-time jobs, you're earning 10,000 a year. What are you going to do when the pound drops to 25p? And so actually you're only earning £2,500 a year, because that's all you'll be able to buy with your £10,000 a year. You'll only able to buy what you used to be able to buy with £2,500. They are going to rob everybody. We're talking about vampires here. You people have got no idea what you are dealing with. Okay, we're talking about a party that sells illegal nuclear weapons and steals 17.8 million from the public purse, and then uses those nuclear weapons to start a war in Iraq. I tell you, you people, you need to get educated, because you're spending too much time listening to the bloody BBC, which is nothing but a corporate mouthpiece. It's not an independent media. It's not a trustworthy news source. Jeremy Corbyn, the Labour Party, I voted for them. I stood by him. I respect the man. But, they did all let us down, because they should never have gone for this general election without first securing the Brexit deal. Without making sure that Britain was never going to come out on a hard Brexit. But I tell you now, you are screwed, Britain. And this is what I mean. You see, the people who were poor on the street, who've already lost their homes, who are being spat on, okay, and abused and attacked. What are you people going to do in your homes now, because as soon as the pound drops to 25p, what's going to happen then? Interest rates are going to skyrocket. So how are you going to be able to afford your homes when your mortgage is rising because the pound is worth less? What are you going to do when the building society, bank and building society bail-in comes into act? Which they will be doing, because once the economy gets that stagnant, we will be like Greece. They'll be taking your savings, they'll be taking your trust funds, they'll be taking your homes. You'll be getting a letter from your building society. Oh, we now own 20% of your home. Because that's what a building society includes, isn't it? Properties. Now, I tell you now, again, you people, you will realise that you've been duped, you've been lied to, you've been tricked again. Now, you know, fool me once, more, that's you the fool. But fool me twice, I'm the fool. And you people, you've been fooled twice. So, you fools. And the only way for a fool to save themselves is to have the courage and guts to look themselves in the mirror and say, I am a fucking fool, right? I was a fool. Now I've woken up. Screw this, right? Because we are all going to have to come out. We are going to have to do in Iceland. Because I tell you now, there is absolutely no way I, for one, and millions like me, are going to quietly stand by while Donald Trump marches in and takes our NHS and starts charging people who need things like diabetes medicines, right? Thousands a month for their medications, okay? No. We are not going to witness people dying of cancer on the streets, right? This is not going to become our society. We are not going to replace the benefit system with the workhouse, right? Factory prisons. I tell you, people, we need to wake up. We are dealing with cutthroat savages. They are savages. Savages in suits. And they will cut your throats. And they take particular delight because they're sadistic. They're like pimps. That's what they are. They're pimps. And the public are their whores. And they will batter you. You know, they'll take your money. They'll take your vote. They'll take your love. And they'll throw it in your face. And they'll batter you with it. It's the battered wife syndrome. That's what Britain's suffering from. As a nation. Okay, the Tories are the husband and the public, we're the wife. Battered wife syndrome, Stockholm syndrome, the lot. Cognitive dissonance, living in the cloud cuckoo land, lost in hate. Oh, these immigrants, oh, black people, Muslims. It's like, they're not your enemy. They're not your enemy. And your enemy is what you're seeing in the mirror. If you are supporting this absolute nonsense and this Brexit now that is coming, that will throw Britain over the edge of a cliff, and you people will lose your homes, and you will all be there. Oh, we shouldn't have voted Tory. Oh, I didn't want to vote. You know, really, I just didn't know. I believed all the lies about Jeremy Corbyn and blah 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 blah. You know what other people in other countries are fighting for? Britain apparently has voted to remove it. What America would dream of to have a national health service, Britain is voted to say, yeah, America, give us your health system. Basically to do exactly what the Israel lobby wanted Britain to do. To behave more like America. To be more like America. To move more into the American sphere. So now they've got us, the monsters there, waiting to eat our children. To eat the child of Britain. So, you know, well done, Britain. Well fucking done. And like I say, is it you people in Britain? Is it the people of Britain? By majority are that stupid. Was this election a fix? Is it a rig? You know, because we know the media played its part with its lies, but a landslide victory, is that secure? I don't think it is. I strongly suspect there was foul play. Okay, so all you people who now are going to suffer, you're the ones waiting to be fleeced. Okay, you're the ones going to get fleeced from the falling pound. Now, and all for what? A minority. It's about 10% of Britons who will profit to any degree that will be able to get them through. But the rest of us, It's bad news for Britain. Very, very, very bad news. And like I say, we are going to have to do in Iceland ultimately, because this nonsense has to stop. The lies have to stop. The lies, the theft, the crime. I mean, the amount of crime. I'll leave you these links, Pandora's box. Check it. Check out what they've been doing. They've been robbing. People are saying, oh, well, who's going to pay for, an improved NHS and all this stuff that Jeremy Corbyn wants to do? Who's going to pay for it? My taxes? No, blah, blah, blah. You don't even know how many billions, hundreds of billions, trillions they take out of our economy. They've taken out. All stored in the tax havens. Hundreds of billions every year just vanishes out of Britain. That we earn, that we produce, we create that wealth, and it just vanishes. And that's why our debt has gone up to $1 trillion. Well, do you think they're going to let it get past that once we've had Brexit and the economy's crashed and the pound's crashed? Oh my gosh, we're already paying £1 billion a week interest on that debt. £1 billion a week interest. So what are you going to do when the pound is only worth 25p and it costs £4 billion a week interest? And then they're going to have the building society bailing, and then you're all going to suffer. Go and have a look at the people who suffered most in Greece. It was the upper classes. Oh, for goodness sake. What can I do? I've warned you, but I tell you now, you better be ready to come out on the streets. Seriously. People, seriously, you better be ready to do an Iceland in this country, because otherwise the child, you're giving your child to a monster.